Hello and welcome to the University of Tennessee, where we are bringing Rocky Top to you wherever you may be. My name is Maggie Keene and I am an admissions counselor at the university. And today I'm going to be talking to you guys about how you actually apply to become a Tennessee volunteer. Let's get started, shall we? So first thing that we're going to be talking about is what does this look like, okay? So whether you're applying as a freshman, as a transfer student, or as an international student, we've got several different options and requirements and things that you got to know about what this process is going to look like. You can check out our admissions website for all the information on the specific category in which you are applying. Now, let's get into this and talk about what this application is going to look like, okay? There are two different ways that you can choose to apply to the University of Tennessee. You can apply using what we call a VIP account or a Vol in Progress account. It's cute, I know, okay? Or you can use the Common App. Whichever one you choose, truly, we have no preference. You're also going to note that for this year, you can apply test optional or you can apply with your test scores. We know that during this time, several of you did not get to take the test in general, or maybe you did not get to take the test as much as you would like. We understand and we know that that isn't always the truest indicator of who you are as a student. So whichever method you choose, it's okay. We have no preference. Now, you're going to note, though, that the requirements are kind of the same for both. So, obviously, you're going to submit that application. You are also going to submit what we call a SAR, or a self-reported academic record. This is essentially you reporting your transcript to us. We're going to talk about that some more here in just a second, so hang tight, okay? You're also going to have your application fee or fee waiver, as well as a required essay. Now, if you're applying test optional, you'll have an additional required essay, and of course, if you're applying with your test scores, you are also going to submit those test scores. At the bottom, you're going to note here that there's a section that says optional. I'm going to tell you it's not optional, okay? Now, technically it is, I know. I'm going to tell you it's not. Here's why. We do what's called holistic application review. A lot of schools do holistic review. It's not unique to us. But for schools that do that, really what that means is we're looking at everything. So anything that you can tell us about yourself, we want to know so that we can use that to make a decision. So talk to us, okay? Let us hear your voice. Let's talk some more now, though, about what that test optional component means, okay? So again, if you're applying test optional, you're choosing not to send us your test scores. We mentioned earlier, you're going to have an additional required essay. Feel free if you want, pause right now and check out this prompt. This is going to be the prompt that you will use for that test optional essay. The prompt is also available on our admissions website. So check it out, okay? Now, a little pro tip here. If you choose to apply test optional and maybe you take the test later on down the road, that's okay. You can still send those test scores to us. However, if you choose to apply with your test scores and then later on you want to go test optional, you can't do that, okay? So if you're kind of on the fence on which option you should choose, maybe you should apply test optional and then later on you can send us those test scores. Let's talk now about what that SAR is, and let's go a little bit more in depth, okay? So again, SAR is your self-reported academic record. This is you reporting your transcript to us. We don't need an official high school transcript until after you actually decide whether or not you want to come here. So don't worry about that. To fill out your SAR, all you're going to need is an unofficial high school transcript. You are going to tell us the classes you took, the grades you got in those classes, and your GPA. Then you're going to take a picture of that unofficial transcript and upload it with your SAR. Once you complete your application, we're going to send you a link to your SAR via email. You'll fill that out, and you've got 2 weeks to actually get that back to us. Once it's back to us, your application is officially complete, okay? So, know though, once that SAR is submitted, you can't make edits, so be sure to get it right the first time, all right? Now, you may be wondering, what's that GPA going to look like? So let's talk about that, okay? We do what's called a core-weighted GPA or a weighted core GPA. So you kind of hear those interchangeably. This is what we're going to do to your SAR. So you're going to tell us those grades that you got in those classes, as well as the classes that you've taken. We rebuild that GPA using these 16 core classes from your SAR. If you do not have all of these classes, no stress. If you've got some extras, no stress, okay? This is just kind of our 16 guidelines. You're also going to see here that we will reweight your GPA. So for some of you, that could be a pretty big benefit. We're hitting you with a lot of stuff. I know, okay? But hang tight. We're almost done. One other big thing that I want to be sure to mention is that we have 2 different application deadlines. We'll talk about this some more here in a second. But the biggie that I want you to know is November 2nd. This is what we call an early action deadline. It's not binding. It's not going to lock you into anything. But it gives you access to more stuff. You like more stuff. And that more stuff is competitive scholarships and our honors and scholars programs. If you apply by November 2nd, you get access to those things, and it doesn't hurt you in any way, okay? So in our opinion, we want you to meet that November 2nd deadline so you get access to honors and scholars programs and additional scholarship funding. Okay. We're kind of wrapping it up now, all right? And let's cover some dates and deadlines. First big date we got to worry about is October 1st. October 1st is when FAFSA goes live. FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. That's what gives you access to things like lottery scholarships, work-study programming, grants, loans. If you've never done a FAFSA before, buckle up, okay, because it's kind of a lot, and I'd recommend that you have some time on hand the first time you do it because it's kind of a beast, okay, but you've been warned. Now, FAFSA is not going to be due back to us until February 1st, so really, you have from October till February to tackle the beast. Now, moving forward, we talked about earlier, there are 2 different application deadlines, November 2nd, December 15th. November 2nd, again, that's that early action deadline. That's the one we want you to meet. Gives you access to additional scholarship funding and our honors and scholars programs. So, no-brainer, okay? Now, if something happens, maybe you missed that deadline, you still have until December 15th to apply, and you can still get access to our institutional scholarships. Last date now we got to be worried about, and the end of the road for us is May 1st. May 1st is what we call a confirmation deadline. That's a fancy way to say that's the last day to tell us whether or not you want to be a Tennessee volunteer. So you have until then to do whatever it is you got to do. Weigh options, check financial aid and scholarships, look at other schools, whatever, okay? Whatever it is you got to do, you have until May 1st before you have to make that decision, okay? But just remember, May 1, end of our road. Okay, so officially, that's all that we've got time for today. So thank you so much for taking the time to learn about the University of Tennessee and how to apply to become a Tennessee volunteer. Hopefully, in the future, we'll see you as part of our volunteer family.